A grown man, the ruler of a vast empire, is running. His cloak has fallen off his back. He does not stop to pick it up. He is chasing a small girl through a treasury room, and she is crying, and in her mouth is one coin. This is not a story about cruelty. It is not a story about a tyrant and a frightened child. It is a story about a man who understood something most powerful people never do, that the number on a coin does not determine whether it matters or not. But we are getting ahead of ourselves. First, we must go back to the beginning of that afternoon, when the treasury room was quiet and the sacks were full, and no one had run anywhere yet. Hazrat Umar was the caliph. He administered a territory that stretched from Persia to Egypt. Armies moved at his word. Governors answered to him. Yet he lived simply, in a way that surprised even the people who served under him every day. His household was not wealthy. His children did not live in comfort that was different from the comfort of ordinary families in Medina. He had made a decision about this, and he held to it, and it was not always easy for him or for the people around him. On this particular day, one of his children came to the treasury. The child was young. She wandered in the way children wander, without a plan, without a destination, drawn by curiosity and the smell of something unfamiliar. The sacks were tied, but not all of them perfectly. One sat lower than the others. Its mouth was loose. A few coins had slipped out and lay on the floor near the base of the stack, catching the light from the high window. The child walked to the coins. She crouched down and looked at them. Then she picked one up. She turned it over in her fingers. It was small. It was just one coin. She put it in her mouth, the way very young children put things in their mouths. There was nothing malicious in it. There was no plan. She was a child, and the coin was shiny, and it was there. This is how children behave with small things they find on the floor. She did not run. She simply stood there. Someone saw her. It is not clear who saw her first. A keeper of the treasury, a servant passing in the corridor. What is clear is that word reached Hazrat Umar quickly, as word about the treasury always did, because he had made it his business to know. He came to the treasury room himself. He did not send someone else. He walked in, and he saw the child, and he saw that her cheek was slightly rounded, the way a cheek is rounded when something is tucked inside it. He understood immediately. He did not pause. He did not deliberate. He moved toward her, and she saw him coming, and she began to cry. She did not know what she had done wrong. She only knew that a large person was moving fast in her direction. She ran. She was small, and she was quick, and she went toward the door. Hazrat Umar went after her. His cloak caught on something, the edge of a sack, a hook on the wall, the speed of his own movement, and it fell behind him on the floor. He did not go back for it. He kept running. A cloak can be picked up later. A coin taken from the treasury cannot be left unaccounted for, not even one, not even by his own child. This was the line he had drawn for himself long ago. He caught her in the corridor. She was crying hard now, the way children cry when they are frightened and do not understand why. He stopped her gently. He knelt down. He spoke to her quietly. He asked her to open her mouth. She opened her mouth. The coin was there, small and wet, and still just one coin. He took it out carefully. He held it in his palm for a moment. Then he stood up, and he walked back to the treasury, and he put the coin back with the others. He placed it back in the pile, not on the edge, not set aside, back in with all the other coins as if it had never left. Then he stood there for a moment in the treasury room, alone, looking at the sack with its loose mouth. He tied the sack himself. He pulled the cord tight and knotted it. Then he went back to the corridor and picked up his cloak from the floor where it had fallen. He shook the dust from it. He put it back on. The child had stopped crying by then. She was standing near the doorway, watching him. He did not explain to her at length. He said only what was necessary. The treasury belongs to everyone. It does not belong to us. Not even a little bit. This was not a performance. There were no observers he was trying to impress. The corridor was empty. The treasury keeper, if there was one present, was not a witness whose opinion mattered to him. He did this because he believed it had to be done. People who knew Haz Omer knew that he held himself to a standard that was by any measure severe. He kept accounts. He knew what came in and what went out. He believed that the people who managed public resources were custodians, not owners. He believed this even when it was inconvenient. He believed it when it cost him comfort. He believed it when it cost the people close to him comfort too. His family did not receive advantages from his position. That was a decision, and it held. The story of the coin is small. It involves no battle, no judgment, no great speech. A child picked up one coin. A man ran after her and got it back. That is the whole event, and yet people remembered it. They kept it. They passed it down. They remembered it because of what it revealed, not what he said, what he did. He ran. He lost his cloak. He got one coin back from his own child and returned it to a pile of thousands. This is what a standard looks like when it is real. Think about your own life. Think about the small things. The expense report, where you rounded up without meaning to, or did mean to. The office supplies that ended up at home because no one would notice. These are not dramatic crimes. They are one coin. They are exactly one coin. And think about what your family expects because of your position. The favor that costs nothing to give. The shortcut that is easy to justify. The door you open for them that should stay closed. Haz Omer had more power than almost any person alive in his time. He still ran after a coin in a child's mouth. The core message of this event is not complicated. There is no amount small enough to ignore, and there is no relationship close enough to justify an exception. These two ideas together are a complete standard. Most people accept one and quietly abandon the other. The reason standards collapse is almost never greed in the large sense. It is the accumulation of small exceptions. Each one is defensible. Each one is small. But they build on each other, and eventually the standard is gone, and no one can point to the moment it left. Haz Omer understood this. He did not wait for the large violation. He closed the gap at the one coin level. He closed it when the person involved was his own child. That is not severity. That is clarity. Severity punishes. Clarity prevents. He did not explain his standard to the world. He simply lived inside it. And when it was tested, not by an enemy, not by a rival, but by a crying child, he did not step outside it. He ran. He lost his cloak. He got the coin back. What remains of that afternoon is a cloak on a floor, a crying child, and one coin returned to a pile of thousands. Nothing was recorded in any ledger. No one was punished. And yet more than 1,000 years later, we are still talking about it. That should tell us something about what actually lasts. One coin, returned. That is the whole story.